Welcome back to Morning Express. I'm Sophia Wanuna. We're glad you're watching our final hour on the show this morning. And joining me on set, our conversation couch, is Johnstone Kavuludi, who's the chairman of the National Police Service Commission. And Chairman, we appreciate you making time for us this morning.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you so much. We begin with, of course, one of the recent stories we got coming from the NPSC, and it's a letter that was delivered laced with some chemical. We do not know what that is yet. You don't as well. But tell us about what happened, how this all unfolded.
Thank you, Sophia. I really may not want to dwell too much on that because it's a matter that is undergoing police investigation.
Right.
And also dwelling on it so much gives the impression that we're too worried about it and that it is occupying center stage when it comes to the performance of our work.
Right.
To me and to the Commission, is just one of those things we call professional hazards. And there isn't a job that does not have any hazards at all. Even the one that looks like is the nicest job.
Right.
So in this case, I just want to believe that there must be people who may not be too comfortable about what the Commission is doing in exercise of its mandate constitutionally, and also in ensuring that the law is implemented.
Okay.
But what did happen is that a letter was delivered to the Commission, addressed to me under my name.
Yes.
And also a similar one addressed to another commissioner, Commissioner Murshid Mohammed.
Yeah.
And significantly, when we opened at different times, we discovered that the two letters were authored by the same people, same handwriting. It was actually one letter almost copied by the same people. And it was simply asking that these two commissioners are appearing too strict when it comes to vetting of police officers, which is ongoing. And that if they don't slow down, then these people will take unspecified action, including harming them or causing, to use their words, them to mourn the same way the families of those who had been discontinued from service were mourning. Right. And of course, it was laced with some substance that I believe the police and the government chemist would be in a position to tell us. But what I'm saying is that it's nothing really to worry about, because those kind of things keep coming whenever a public officer is performing, and particularly if there is anybody or any people that might not be too happy about what they're seeing. So it's one of those things we like to keep in the past as we carry on to work.
All right. However, this, as you said, investigations on it continue. But initially, there was a different threat to your life ahead brought to your office. With that, was there any kind of conclusiveness in terms of that investigation to find out who was behind it? What was the motive? Because it's one thing to know that they're looking into it, but Kenyans and people would want to know who are behind this kind of threats.
Thank you, Sophia. Again, that is history, I would want to say. But history is significant in the sense that it teaches us on what to do. If there is no lesson learned, then it will not be useful. This happened in August last year. The Commission was on a retreat with all members of constitutional commissions in Mombasa. I actually never saw the head or the human parts that accompanied the head. I was told about it by the officers at the National Police Service Commission, who were called upon to pick the package that had been delivered to the chairman with the words that Kavuludi, you are next. I didn't see it, but it was handled by the police. Again, they undertook investigations. I want to believe the investigations are still ongoing, only that it is significant. I've never been asked to write a statement, because if I'm the person that is being threatened, I think somebody will have been keen to find out who will be wanting to threaten me.
Yes.
But again, I am not an expert in investigations. I've investigated other things that do not relate to security threats.
All right.
But I'm still very optimistic that the police are really doing their best in the sense that they are professionals. They know what it is that they are doing, and I think they owe it to the public. It is not to Kavuludi, it's not to the Commission. The Commission exercises its mandate on behalf of the Kenyan people.
Okay, let's get more into the police reforms. The vetting exercise still ongoing. There were those who are found unfit. For you, the exercise and so far down the road, what you've been the different officers, you've been able to talk to have them appear before the commission. How is it going? Are you making progress?
We think, and we are satisfied, we are confident that we are making progress. And we are confident that we're making progress because one can see clearly that the officers who are appearing before us and the impact it has on those who have not yet appeared is very significant. I want to bring out the fact that this is a process and not just an exercise.
Right.
A process that is defined in the law. And the law is emanated from the Constitution. We are transiting from a Kenya police service. Kenya police force
to a service.
To a Kenya police service. That is what the Constitution has set out to do. And to ensure that relevant laws are put in place to actualize that process. So the National Police Service Act commands the Commission to undertake vetting as part of the transition process. Two types of vettings normally are expected to be carried out. One is employment vetting. And the example of this is when the Commission undertook to vet the Inspector General, the two deputies, and the Director of Criminal Investigations. Many people applied for the position. They were interviewed, they were vetted, and finally those who were found suitable had their names forwarded to His Excellency the President, who then, in his wisdom and after consulting, did make the appointments. That's one kind of vetting.
Right.
Now, that one is continuous. We'll have it so long as the Commission exists to exercise its constitutional mandate. Then there is the other vetting, which we are now undertaking, the transition vetting. In the transition vetting, we are determining the suitability and the competence of officers who formerly served in the police force to be members of the National Police Service.
Okay.
So we have set a criteria, a criteria that has to be stringently observed.
All right.
And if an officer goes through that, then we declare the officer fit and suitable to continue serving.
All right. I'm going to ask my director. I've seen that clip. We have it. It's a story we ran earlier by one of our reporters, Angel, on some of, the extra duties that perhaps a police officer should not have to get into. Director, you let me know if we have the clip ready. We can learn. We can just have a little bit of it running so that Mr. Chairman can get to have a look. And because it's very important that as we are talking about the roles and reforms, that on the other hand, we're also not demeaning these same officers that the Commission and I believe yourselves are trying to make their lives better. Do we have the clip ready? Let's play it. Well, we needed to have you here. What it is that we're talking about. There's a story about an Angel Katusia, and that's what they're trying to figure out. But police that are assigned to VIPs, having them clean their cars and all this manner of things, should that be happening? Is that part of their JD?
First of all, Sophia, I want to say that the Commission has a responsibility to ensure that members of the police service are utilized in the most efficient and effective manner in not only keeping law and order, but also ensuring that there is safety and security for Kenyans and their property. That is their primary responsibility. And the policing is not the same as keeping peace. It's about the police working with the communities in order to ensure safety, security, in order to ensure that business is carried out in a manner that is ensuring productivity.
Yes.
Now, why did I go to that background? I'm saying this because part of our responsibility is to ensure that our police officers are properly utilized, that they are given to work on duties and responsibilities that are within the confines of safety, security, keeping the peace. One of those duties is VIP protection.
Yes.
Because it's recognized the world over that VIPs are often in danger of falling into harm, and depends on the assessed need for security for any important person in any community, in government service, or even in business. Those drivers that you have seen are persons who have been assigned to judges, to magistrates. Their primary responsibility is not driving. The commission is very firm about that one.
Yes.
And we are happy even the Inspector General and his top command have started the process of withdrawing police drivers to their core function, which is policing. So if they are expected to be with the VIPs, they will not be expected to be driving, but to be protecting them from harm.
Yeah,
I'll
and
give you
cleaning their cars, because we have, seen the clip, still in their full uniform, brushing, cleaning, it's
I agree, Sophia, and that is demeaning.
Yeah.
I'm the chairperson of the National Police Service Commission. My driver is not a police driver. It's a civilian. If I need protection, the protection is offered by a police officer. We just would like to emphasize that it is high time police officers assigned responsibilities do the job of protecting and not the job that is intended for persons who are other than police officers. We are not inciting them to stop what they're doing, but all we are saying is that wherever a person is assigned, we must keep in mind that they have got a profession, they have got dignity, they have got other people looking at them, and I think it is only fair that we have them performing those roles. And particularly, it is known, if you are in uniform, you cannot be performing certain duties, and that remains the commitment.
Is there something that will be done to ensure this stops? Because we did see that happen.
Yes, this unfortunately is an old clip.
Okay.
I've seen it played over and over, but I believe it may still be happening. The issue is being very firmly addressed by the commission, in which we have got the Inspector General and the two deputies.
Okay.
And we are saying that it needs to stop.
It needs to stop. And one of the issues also raised in that story by Angel Katesia was the number and the ratio of police to the citizenry. There is what is required, the standard worldwide, but we are falling short of that. What is being put in place to ensure that we have more police keeping Kenya safe?
Oh, that's being vigorously addressed.
Yeah.
For example, you may recall that early last year, beginning from late 2012 and early last year, we had this country witnessing a recruitment process carried out by the National Police Service Commission. And we did recruit 7,000 police officers. That was a huge number. But the reason is to ensure that the ratio of 1 to 400, right, one policeman to 450 citizens is attained.
Yeah.
We haven't got there as yet. But recently you might even have had a pronouncement publicly by both His Excellency the President and also the Deputy President that arrangements have been made for the recruitment of a further 15,000 officers. These huge numbers may make it a little difficult for the institutions that are training these officers to cope. But it is the kind of situation that is a must, is necessitated by the need to have enough officers to carry out the policing function.
But also these numbers, as they come up, they're being sucked in by the increasing number of VIPs. We have now more members of parliament, we have many commissions, we have the county assemblies, all of which are taking from these numbers that would be going to ordinary mwananchi.
I agree,
but
right now the government is in the process of approving a policy on VIP protection.
Okay.
And it is very specific who qualifies for VIP protection and what number of officers will each one of those officers have. So it's not the kind of thing that is being done so indiscriminately.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we must even have more people, more police officers serving the general populace. In fact, if we had good security for everybody, it might not be necessary to have certain officers designated to serve individuals. Okay. And that's where we headed. All
right. Let's talk a bit more about the Westgate report. You've heard about it, perhaps read it or had a look at it. What are your thoughts and what some of those revelations that were made in as far as how wrong that particular siege and operation went in as far as police involvement and the military is concerned?
I want to be honest, Sophia. That's not my function. And much as I've read about it, much as I have information about it, I'm not a professional police officer.
Yes.
My area of management is the human resource function and how it makes the police service effective and efficient. But we are now delving into technical matters, which is really the responsibility of the Inspector General and the two deputies, Director of Criminal Investigations. I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That I will respect. Let's go back to the reforms and what happens next in as far as the vetting exercise round 1. We finished with this batch. When does it resume? Who are we expecting to see?
Thank you, Sophia. Some people think we are finished vetting. I just want to inform the public that we have barely started because we should be vetting 80,000 police officers.
Right.
And we've only done 30. It took us a long time because these are the men and women who drive the police service. They are the managers right at the helm. And now that we have done phase 1, comprised of senior deputy commissioners of police, and then phase 2, deputy commissioners of police, and we've released the results, except the results of 3 officers. The next phase involves 182 police officers of the ranks of assistant commissioner of police and a senior assistant commissioner of police. This is a lot that we are going to vet for 3 weeks, starting on the 14th of February. That is the contact between the officer and the vetting panel, 14th of February through to 3rd of March. But we've already started the vetting, in the sense that vetting starts with the collection of information, the painting of a pen picture of an officer who is going to be vetted.
To be vetted, yes.
And coming up with the details relating to their personal details, their personal assessment. So it's already in progress and the public has already been asked to supply information if they have any.
And are you seeing sufficient public participation in as far as this is concerned when you open it up for people to contribute?
Sufficient public participation, that will be an understatement.
Yeah.
There is overwhelming public participation and support. And we're just in the process of going through the masses of information which has come to us as a commission to deal with. So it's really encouraging.
One of the things that we find once in a while people will tweet and ask about is the police officers that we find around roundabouts and controlling traffic on our roads. And yet in some situations you'll find they're working traffic lights, and we're seeing more advanced traffic lights, even with a countdown being put up. Why is it that we're still seeing this? Is it that the completion of that kind of a mechanism is not done and so we still need the support of the police? Or will we always continue to have police officers on our roads? When do you see this not happening, that we don't have police officers whose role, traffic police they are, but is to stand there and just, you know, open up, go traffic controlling?
I'll give you a personal view, not an official.
Yes.
Because traffic management, again, is not the responsibility of the commission.
Right.
But the commission is responsible for ensuring that we put in place mechanisms that ensure that police officers are able to operate smoothly.
Okay.
My personal view is this, that Kenyans have got bad driving habits. That's all there is to it.
Yes.
Because if lights are working, they do not need a police officer to marshal them. It's only if traffic lights are not working. But police officers have been forced to marshal motorists because motorists in Kenya, and especially in Nairobi, want to jump the traffic lights.
Right.
And at the end of it all, it ends up being clogged. And that's how you find police officers. I think what may need to be done is for more stringent measures to be taken People need to be prosecuted, drivers who are jumping the lights. And if that were to happen, we'll see a lot of people beginning to respect the traffic lights. So it's not so much because police officers love it, but in an effort to create order, then you find that police officers are there trying to ensure that traffic is being properly managed. But I think we'll arrive there once we are able to come up and say enough is enough. You are a bad driver. It does not matter the position you hold in life. We'll hold you accountable by taking you to court. By taking you to court.
There's a question here from Jared as we bring this to a close, and even as far as the vetting is concerned and the reforms in the police. And he's talking about, he says the police in our country, majority of them continue to live in pathetic situations, poor remuneration, poor equipment for what it is they need to go to work with. And the encouragement and psyche is also drained by the fact that most of them will work for very long periods of time without promotions, and the structures seem to be broken. So that is a concern by Jared. I remember at one of the interviews we were speaking to somebody, and they said that there's a corporal who's been a corporal for 30 years. I mean, they must have done something good in those 30 years, or if it's bad, then they should have been dismissed. But to stay in one position for such a long time. And so when Jared talks about the structures, in terms of the remuneration, it's a conversation that has been had over and over again. In terms of just their condition, the living standards, that encouragement, that as a police officer, you're proud to be and to serve in the service. Why? Because of also how the service takes care of you as a human being, because bottom line is being able for every person put food on the table, and comfortably so. As we wrap up, what do you say to Jared and the concerns he raises?
Jared raises very fundamental concerns. Jared is so accurate, and Jared is really going out to mirror what it is most Kenyans, including police officers, have on their mind. And I want to say that we should all be thinking like Jared. What do we need to do to make police officers look more professional, act more professionally? We need to take care of their welfare, and that is the responsibility of the Commission. And I want to take this opportunity to very sincerely thank the government, particularly His Excellency the President, for making it possible for us to focus on those areas of concern that should make professionalizing the National Police Service a job that is enjoyable to carry out. Number one, when it comes to housing, the kind of housing development plans we have in place, including what we know he himself is soon going to launch. And you may be seeing a bit of that as time goes. I don't know what exactly to involve, but that is part of where he's focusing. And encouraging that the service need not just go out with the building of houses. Houses will be leased for police officers. And where, particularly out of Nairobi, it becomes necessary, we will want to ensure that the houses which exist today are not only expanded, but are also built to a standard where a police officer will feel encouraged to live with the police officer's family, and not what is happening today. So it's a grim picture. It is something that we cannot feel proud about. And I want to say that with that kind of encouragement from the government, His Excellency the President, from the Cabinet Secretary himself, and he's gone around this country and he's been doing so much and liaising with us and the Inspector General in ensuring that the kind of arrangements that must be put in place should be very solid. When it comes to their protection, you have seen it also, the government for the first time has got an insurance package for police officers who may be injured while on duty, comprehensive insurance so that officers who fall sick or who die in the course of duty are appropriately compensated. It hasn't happened in this country before. This is courtesy the government, His Excellency the President, the Ministry of Interior, in putting forward a policy that ensures that, of course, with the participation of the Commission. We are seeing a situation in which the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is beginning to focus on the pay package for the officers. As I said some time back, we now have got a commissioner specifically appointed for purposes of representing the National Police Service Commission to ensure that they are looking at the salaries and conditions, terms and conditions of work for police officers. So there is room for everybody to feel optimistic. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it is our responsibility to ensure that that which needs to be done and is our responsibility needs to be accomplished.
Needs to be accomplished, and also that Rome is finally built.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate you being with us today on the show. Johnstone Kavuludi, Chair, National Police Service Commission, with us right here on police reforms that are ongoing, and he says the work is in progress. It's a matter of time. And for those who think the vetting exercise is done, it's not yet. It will continue. And in fact, to continue to find those that are suitable to continue serving in the National Police Service Commission, and those who are not will be kicked out or found unfit. Maybe they'll have the room, of course, to appeal, but at the end of it all, due process will be followed. We're glad you're watching Morning Express. We still have Bangla coming up, book review, and 7 things you need to know this morning. Don't go away. Stay with us right here on KTN.